Okay. All right. Bonjour, Anin. Hello, it's Zach King here. This is the very first podcast, and I'm really, really excited. I've been looking for a guest, and it's been really, really hard to find somebody brave enough to come on and
brave enough to have
a conversation,
a 3-hour conversation with Zach King.
Exactly. Yeah. Some of my buddies were like, "What are you gonna ask?" and things like that. So, but I'm really excited to have this guest. I have a crazy amount of respect for this guy. We used to work together. I used to see you around at the college when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
With no further ado, Dr. Scott Hanson. Thank you. You want to kind of just talk a little bit about?
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here for your very first podcast.
Yes, sir.
There's something you can
there you go. Right on, right away.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here in on the ground floor. And so basically, Joe Rogan is your
That's my idol.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I've been watching his forever. And I'm a good BSer, I'm good at visiting with people, I'm good conversational, so.
Yeah, well, I think that's important, and that's kind of a dying skill, we spend too much time on social media and screens and stuff and not enough time just having a conversation,
Well, even in Native American, history, storytelling.
Yeah.
And that was the only form of entertainment back then.
Right.
Sitting around a fire and a guy.
During the 7 months of winter.
Yeah.
Telling the stories. That was basically right.
So I kind of even get proud when people kind of tell me say Zach the storyteller. Things like that. I'm kind of prideful. Yeah.
Sure, right. Yeah, great, good. So Joe Rogan's your inspiration.
Yes.
Do you know the YouTube channel Good Mythical Morning GMM? They do a podcast as well, and they do pretty good.
Yeah.
They do pretty well with their podcast, yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, but now, and I think I mentioned Bill Maher too, right? Bill Maher does his Real Time with Bill Maher.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically pretty much a Joe Rogan type interview. He sits down with one person, they talk about what that person is doing at the moment and background, and then they get into current events, and it just goes from there,
I remember, when I was younger and going through stations, I would see him on late night HBO talking.
Yeah.
And then I remember he did that documentary, Religulous. Did you see that one where he's questioning?
I think I saw, or at least heard of that, right.
It was pretty good, yeah. If you ever get a chance to check it out, I would check it out. I'll check out the GMM one, though.
Yeah, Good Mythical Morning. Yeah, that's... Good Mythical Morning has more than 16 million followers. I mean, they're one of the bigger, more successful YouTube channels, and they do all sorts of things. In fact, they've got a number of different, I guess, subdivisions you'd call them. But anyway, they expand a lot. But there's a lot of good podcasts out there, though. Well-known people and less well-known, and they're doing great work, I think.
Well, even I was totally against the whole podcast thing. I was like, who's going to listen to me talk, or who's going to listen?
Well, who knows? Maybe no one will listen to you.
Yeah, I know, right?
There'll be a year from now there'll be 3 views.
Crosses count, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just, or even my daughter is watching kids play video games on YouTube.
Yeah, I know, I've heard of that too, and I've seen my grandsons watch a lot of YouTube videos on people playing games, and especially a few years ago when they were younger and they were really into the Roblox.
Oh yeah, Minecraft.
Yeah, the Minecraft. Yeah, sorry, yeah, Minecraft, and they liked watching. So they liked playing Minecraft, but they also liked watching videos of people play Minecraft, and because I think it was these people had different strategies, and they were building different things, and you could get tips for how to do this or that.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's what's. But yeah, I was one of my students we were talking recently, and she said that that there's people that have huge followings, and they're just playing the game. They're not doing commentary. They're just playing the game.
I never would have, like, when I was a kid, it was boring to watch people play. Like, hurry up and give it up. Hurry up and give up the controller.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what it is you're doing.
Or even for kids to have that kind of, what do you call that, attention span to sit there. If you would have told me that, kids would be doing that, I wouldn't have believed it. I still, I don't understand it. But you know what, so it's new to me, the podcast thing, and so, I was worrying all about, aesthetics and everything, and, all the pictures and stuff. But then,
it's fine.
Well, you were telling me too. Remember, you were like, I just when I listen to, because you said you listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll listen to podcasts and in discussions and stuff like that. And I'll just be listening to it. I won't even be watching the thing, because I mean, if it's 2 people or 3 people or whatever sitting around a desk talking about this or that, well, what's the interest of watching them? Now I know on Joe Rogan, occasionally they'll bring up a picture of this or that, or a video.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and so now that's really nice. And,
and
maybe in post editing, depending on what subjects we get into, I mean, you could probably do some of that.
Like those little clips.
Yeah, clips of this or that.
I think you'll be able to give a lot of cool, with your background.
Sure. Yeah. So and then background anyway. So I grew up in Indiana. I grew up in a small town, pretty much the same size as Rolla, about 1,200 people, small town called North Liberty, Indiana, and so I like, living in small towns and, rural areas, and
Me
so,
too.
So for me, this is a nice area to live in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've lived in all sorts of areas. I mean, I've lived in Tokyo, which is one of the largest cities in the world, and I mean, there were a lot of fun aspects of that, because there's a lot of things to see and do and everything, but I mean, still, it's just zillions of people,
I couldn't even imagine. I'd probably have an anxiety.
Yeah, what's nice about Tokyo, though, is that the Japanese people and Japanese cities are very organized and very orderly and very efficient, and so it's a city of, I think, I don't know, 12 million people. I mean, you can Google it, but it's a city of, tens of millions of people. But yet there's virtually no crime, and you can walk around at night in pretty much any part of the city you want, and there's no crime. There's it's not, it's safe, and
Why do you think they're so advanced like that, more so than
well,
the United States?
They
Or polite. I don't know what the word
is.
is.
It seems to be culture, really. They have a cultural mindset of always working, and always and not wanting to bring any shame on their family. Because I mean, if you're a criminal, well, you're going to bring shame on your family. That's the last thing they want, and so so it's a mindset. It's a culture. And I think that's and it's in a lot of I think a lot of Asian cultures it's that way as well. It's
yeah, that would be really interesting too, to learn that kind of culture, because I hear we're pretty similar, but you bring up Tokyo. I don't want to get too off track. I want to get back to your history. Yeah. But just recently, so I was looking for something, transportation in our area. Like some sort of, like, I don't know, something more to offer our community.
Like public transportation.
Yeah. And I came upon this article about how slime created the. Did you read about that? The subway system in Tokyo, a subway system in Tokyo. Slime. So what they, so this is your background. I'll send you the thing, but basically, this sort of slime, it naturally finds the fastest route.
Oh.
To like things or something, but they use slime to create the subway system in Tokyo.
Really, to find out what routes to take in what direction.
Yes, because it naturally finds the fastest. It stretches out.
Yeah.
Like, I wish, like, the Joe Rogan thing that he's like, Jamie, check that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole article about it. TED Talk. the slime created the subway transit system in Tokyo. I'll send it to you. I'd hate to like, but I was sorry to backtrack you.
Yeah. So, I grew up in Indiana, so hopefully my thick Indiana accent doesn't,
I would have never. I don't know what it sounds. I don't know what. I always get from my accent. I always get it.
Yeah.
So you guys were in Tokyo?
Yeah. So anyway, so I grew up in Indiana, and for college I went to Andrews University in Berrien Springs, Michigan, and it's a small university that probably no one's ever heard of, but so for graduate school I went to Notre Dame.
Wow.
Yeah, and I
Rudy, that's what I think of right away.
Yeah, oh yeah. And, my daughter Sarah, I mean, she just loves the movie Rudy.
Yeah, Sean Astin.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, back when when she was young, it was VHS tapes.
Yes, I remember that.
She almost wore out the VHS tape.
How old is she?
She's 32 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm 38. So
yeah, and she's she's severely autistic, and so she keys in on just one thing a lot of times, and so it was like the little drummer boy, the little claymation show, Christmas show.
Oh yeah,
that was made back in the 60s. Yeah,
Rudolph or Frosty.
Yeah, but also Little Drummer Boy, and that was the claymation thing. From the 60s, which I mean, an excellent show.
Yukon Cornelius.
Yes, that was in Rudolph.
Yeah.
But so we had a VHS tape of that, and I think we actually went through like 3 tapes of that because she would just watch that
over and
over. And and in fact, a few years ago I found it on YouTube. At Christmas time a few years ago, I found it on YouTube and played it for her, and she
brought back a little bit of memories.
Yeah, I enjoyed seeing that. Yeah, but she likes to watch all sorts of things, and lately. So we had a blender called a Vitamix blender, and it came with an instructional video, and we bought this thing like maybe 20 years ago or so, and it came with a instructional video on, I think, DVD, and it was like a half-hour video, and they showed all different types of things to do with the blender and how to mix this and that and stuff, and Sarah, and also Esther as well, our other daughter, both of them really liked watching that because they liked the process, the hands-on process of preparing food and stuff. And so lately, Sarah's watched a lot of the cooking shows.
I love that.
Like the British baking show.
I love Chopped. I don't know.
Yeah. Chopped is great. Yeah. And then there's a Korean one.
Iron Chef.
Maybe. Yeah. It's the one where they've got a number of different chefs that are working on dishes, and they've got a walkway up above.
Oh yeah, Iron Chef. Yeah.
Is that Iron Chef?
Yeah, Iron Chef. Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and so they've got these people, watching, the chefs, and they're commenting about, what's he doing with that, or why did he choose that?
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, or I would have sautéed it for 3 more minutes. Come on.
Yes. I love that.
It's a really bold move,
I get into those shows.
I
can watch those for days.
Yeah. Did you watch Good Eats with what's the guy's name?
Is it Asian guy?
No. I think he's Canadian.
Jon Favreau?
No, Ashton something or Austin.
God, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, but when Good Eats, but he's one of these people that's on the cooking shows and anything. But he had a series of things, and he would do like a half-hour show on just one subject, and he'd do like marshmallows, or
I'm glad I watched those because I thought fried bread was. I thought fried bread was our thing. I thought. But it turns out like all kinds of other cultures have some kind of form of.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, the wheat flour, the wheat flour to make the fried bread wasn't originally a product of this.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Well, Sean Sherman calls that like colonized food or whatever.
Yeah, so
colonized diet.
So was there a type of bread though that was prepared by Native Americans originally, though, than.
I've been following this guy since COVID. I can't think of his name. My uncle Rick Hamley. We always talk about this guy. My uncle Rick calls him Joe. I can't remember his Joe something. But he talks about like native, like he knows all of the names, all the Anishinaabe names for plants.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know how he knows all. I'll send you his information. He's really
Okay.
Joe Manitou Wabik or something like that.
Okay.
But he can break down like all kinds of things like that. Like he knows all the Ojibwe words.
Yeah.
And he can. It's crazy. Yeah. I just get lost in that kind of field of I don't know how you guys. Can remember all that stuff, like the names and.
Yeah, well, the one thing is if you teach a class in a certain subject and you teach a class a number of years, well then, that makes it easier to remember all that information because you go over and over it.
Yeah.
Times. But Alton Brown, that's the guy that did the Good Eats.
What was his name?
Alton Brown.
Alton Brown. I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, he did the Good Eats show, and he's one of the judges on one of those cooking shows.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I forget which one. Yeah, but
is he the guy with the glasses?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's kind of a rude guy. Yeah. Okay.
He talks kind of fast.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, but he has such enthusiasm for this or that, and these there's little sight gags and jokes and stuff, in the show that the Good Eats show he used to do, and I think he did a number of seasons of that actually.
I'll have to check it out. Oh, but sorry, I lost track of
That's right.
The Joe guy. He said our diets are mainly like protein, meat and berries, and like we only ate plants and those like vegetables and things like that only in survival mode. Like if it was if game was. Like
like the wild onions and things that was only
like
as a last resort. Then.
Yeah, it was kind of like if game wasn't around.
To make the pemmican though, you need
berries.
Yeah, you need berries and the meat and the berries and anything else.
I think they just smoked and dried the meat and then just added berries to it just to give it some kind of like.
Well, that's that kind of leads into something I wanted to mention today that. To me, I've been doing the keto diet for about 3 years. My wife and I both keto diet for about 3 years, and I really think that's. We also got a few of our nieces and nephews into it as well, and they did pretty well when they were on it, but then they fell off the wagon and. Their health went right back to what it was before, unfortunately. But keto. But the main idea behind keto is that the typical American diet has way too much carbohydrate.
Bread, yes.
And we actually have to basically emphasize more the protein and fat rather than carbohydrate. Mm-hmm. And it seems to work really well,
Well, that Joe guy, the one that I was talking about, he referenced our stomachs to almost like the same as wolves back then, like just having the same diet.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
But I don't know. I could I don't know. I mean, I suppose over time, our DNA and things changes, like diabetes and
right,
high blood pressure. A lot of heart attacks, a lot of high blood pressure in Native people.
Yeah.
I don't know if like the keto. I don't know if our DNA's changed or if that's what that takes over time or anything.
Yeah. That's not quite sure about that, but over generations, if you've got the same, I would think if you've got the same type of diet and things over for generation after generation, then there'd be a certain amount of adaptation to that, or change, I guess you could say, genetic change.
Because I wish I could drink milk. I wish, it totally tears me up.
Yeah. So you're lactose intolerant.
Yes.
And probably butter, the same thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say, that we didn't have cows a long time ago.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. But the thing is, though, I mean, you don't have to drink milk to be keto, though.
Oh yeah, I guess I was just talking about like genes overall.
Okay, right. Yeah, just
over time.
Yeah, right.
Or even like they say that like native, and I've heard that this is like proof, a study that this has been proven wrong, but like that native people have like an intolerance an intolerance to alcohol or like rice or things like that, like bread, like that we just didn't have those things, and that are it's just hard to we never had those.
Yeah, and so it's hard to adapt to change.
Like I wonder how many generations it takes to like change that, because a guy James Vukolich, I was listening to a talk that he had did in Minneapolis at the Red Lake College, and he had said that it takes 3 generations, like post reservation systems, it takes 3 generations for us to all be related.
Okay.
Like so like that's not very long, 3 generations. No. Like and even if you think about it, like our history isn't that long ago. Like you how old is America? Like
right. Yeah, how many generations is how many generations would you have in 250 years?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like that's so we're still
if you figure maybe 20 years for a generation or 30 years for a generation, then that's but I mean, if you look at the whole expanse of human history, 250 years is just a blip on the radar screen.
Definitely, yes.
We're just getting started.
Like I saw in the newspaper a lady, she was my nurse when I was a kid. She was like 90-something years old. She's seen it all. World War I, World War II, Biggie, Tupac.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and all the technological advances, and I mean,
those drones in Jersey.
Yeah.
Like this technology, like you said.
Right,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or even like I gave all my DVDs away. I had a wicked DVD collection because I said I don't think we're ever going back to DVDs. Like streaming services, you can watch anything you want now, like on YouTube.
Well, almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's certain things that. Well, okay, all right. So the movie The Outlaw Josie Wales.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's not. About a couple of years ago, I noticed that movie was not available on Netflix or Amazon Prime or YouTube.
You're right. Yeah, I have run into that problem.
And so I had to get on the eBay and buy the DVD.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. There are some.
And the other thing is like a lot of different series. Like The Office. I mean, that was on Netflix for a while, but now it's not there, and so it's, and I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime or Hulu or anything. I kind of doubt it, but so a lot of these things are not necessarily. I mean, if you wanted to pay for the thing, then maybe you could get it on Amazon Prime. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what made me kind of. Did you see that movie with Julia Roberts, Leaving the World Behind, or Leaving?
I don't think I see.
No. It's just like, what if like the world, or what if the United States was like a cyber attack, and like the smart cars, they hack those so people can't leave. They take all the smart cars and block the highway so people can't like leave. And, and then you kind of question your insanity because you can't get on your phone or ask Google or ask Alexa.
Right.
And then like all this crazy stuff starts happening, and then you just really like start questioning everything. And so there's this little bunker. They find a bunker, and they have this huge DVD collection. Yeah. But they have what do you call those, a generator and things like that.
Yeah.
And they just have this huge DVD collection for like a little hideout bunker. And the young girl, she kept wanting to watch Friends. That was her thing. Yeah, she wanted to finish Friends.
Well, that's a sign that our society has certainly taken a turn for the worse. All she wanted to watch is Friends.
It just kind of almost reminds me of like I always think about that Titanic. It was big when I was younger, and they played as the ship was going down.
Right. Yeah, the theme. that's crazy. Yeah.
Well, how long were you in Tokyo for?
Well, we were there for 2 years. Yeah, yeah. So I let's see, graduated from Notre Dame with my PhD in biology in 1991, and we went directly from there to Japan. We were there for 2 years. It was a fellowship through National Science Foundation, so I did 2 years of research there on mosquitoes, and our first daughter was actually born in Japan.
Really?
Yes.
So what's that birth certificate like? There's like a number and things like that? Like how does that work?
Well, the birth certificate is it's in Japanese. I think there's an English translation though as well with it, you know. But now she doesn't have Japanese citizenship though, you know, because the U.S. is the only country that does that, you know.
Dual or what is it?
Well, you talk about dual citizenship.
Is that yeah. Or no? Is that?
Well, it's the thing is, I mean, anyone. The way I understand it is the law is anyone born here has the option of becoming a U.S. citizen. You know, yeah. You know, no matter where your parents are from. You know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I think Canada used to do that, but I don't think they do that anymore.
That's interesting. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. But so she doesn't have Japanese citizenship or anything. No, she was considered an American citizen, it was a nice experience there.
2 years, you said?
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah.
What years was that? What was going on at that time?
Well, it was it was September of '91 through August of '93.
91 and 93. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, so Bill Clinton was elected in '92. You know, for example, you know, so basically it was the end of the first George Bush, and then the beginning of Bill Clinton's his presidency then as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So. You know, so it was before the internet was really a big thing necessarily. You know,
I don't remember it being a big thing until I mean, you know, it's still kind of new, but like I'd say maybe like I don't know when I was a senior in high school, that's kind of when like email and thing like 05. I don't know. When do you think you really?
Well,
started?
I mean, email. You know, in the colleges and universities, people were doing email back in the early '90s actually. Yeah, so when I was in Japan, I would actually email back and forth with people back here, and so, you know, and since email was really new at that time, it was amazing that you know you could send a message to someone. And,
you didn't have to write a letter.
Didn't have to send it through the mail, you know, because the mail, I mean, it took, I forget now, it took probably like between a week and 2 weeks to actually get mail between here and there, you know. At that time, probably still it's that way too, but usually though, you know, if I'd send an email to someone in the States, well, you know, Japan is 13 hours ahead of them, so basically you're emailing them when they were asleep, you know, and so you really wouldn't get a reply till probably the next day, since that's when they would see the email, you know. But you know, I mean, you know, we didn't have email, you know, in our apartment though, you know. So I only sent and received emails at the university, at one of the computers at the university.
You know, like, so you know, it just kind of makes me think about you know, writing letters or sending mail, and then now we were doing emails. Like, are you used to the fact of Zooms and Google Meets and those now?
Yeah, I've gotten pretty used to it at this point. Yeah.
To me, it's still a little like I don't know. I'm more of a person.
Oh yeah, so there you have the feeling that there's something missing.
Yeah, like there's
a lot of people are like that, sure. And I mean, face to face is still a lot better than Zoom.
I think so.
Google Meet or anything. Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I still kind of get a little like when I have to do a Zoom. Like, I don't know why. Like I'll have to start thinking thinking a different way.
Well, you know, I've heard some people say, well, you know, if it's over Zoom and it's over the internet, you don't really know who's watching that.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, and I suppose that's true, but I mean, you know, if you're having some sort of meeting or something, I mean, no one's going to want to watch that.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 99% of meetings, you probably wouldn't want to watch anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very, very true. I just think of some of the ones I've sat through, especially during COVID. That was awful.
Yeah.
That was a horrible time. That in your, well, I guess that's not really, like, your background's insects, but, right? Is that,
Yeah.
like, do you think another, like, COVID or something like that will ever happen again, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's always possible. Yeah. Because I mean, there's all sorts of diseases that are going on all the time, and like the Ebola thing, for example,
Yeah, what happened to that? Now it's gone. Like, remember there was zombies.
It's probably still going on. It's just that it's in localized areas, out in rural parts of Africa,
Yeah.
But once you get an outbreak and once you get a large number of people infected and it happens maybe in a large city where there's a lot of foreign travel to and from that large city, well then you've got the possibility of it spreading out of it just its local area. Yeah.
So whenever I'm sorry, I just want to go back to
That's right.
So after Tokyo, you were there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then what happened after Tokyo?
So then, well, I got a research job at University of Illinois in Champaign, Illinois, and I did mosquito research there as well. And I guess I should go back. I suppose see, when I was a kid, I was always interested in insects, and I especially interested in ants. And
that's cool, boss.
Praying mantises and stuff. Yeah. And so I thought, well, for graduate school, well, for undergrad, I wanted to get a biology degree, and then for graduate school I wanted to get an entomology degree. Entomology is the study of insects, but at Notre Dame though they didn't have an entomology degree. But the thing is, I studied with a professor there that was doing insect research, and most of the classes I took were insect related. So yeah, it was a biology degree, but really most of what I was doing was entomology anyway. There at Notre Dame. Yeah. And by the way, I'm not the only person working at the college that has a degree from Notre Dame.
Who else?
Dave Ripley.
No way.
Yes,
Daddy
yes.
Dave?
Yes, he's got. Yeah, Dave Ripley. Yeah, he's got an MFA, Masters of Fine Arts.
No way.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah. In fact, he was there. Oh, I think he was there right after Rudy. He was there in the late 70s.
No way.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
wild. Bro, I'm gonna have to. You know what? I worked with him and I just like always talked and visit with him, but he never. Maybe he
never
did.
know.
Maybe he did mention that, but I don't know. Like I was drinking a lot back then, but I'll have to ask him. That's so gnarly, man. Just real quick, I hate interrupting your stories, but right. I just like the ant thing. So when I was younger, my mother, her Ogima or whatever, her teacher was Francis Cree.
Yeah.
And he told her when I was a kid, when I lost a tooth, to put it near an ant pile, and then the ants would come and they'd pick it up and they'd bring it back to their down into
the nest.
And so the reason he said to do that is his teaching was that your child will grow up, hopefully, to carry on the characteristics of ants, like it, and then you probably know like 10 times more stuff than I do, but like some of the things that they said is that like ants are good team players, and they can lift like, what is it, like 10?
Yeah, 10 or 100 times their own weight. Yeah.
So the what is it? I guess the goal is to get those characteristics of an ant.
Yeah.
I mean, as crazy as it sounds, but I mean, I don't know. I did it, and then I had my daughter do it, and a few of her cousins did it too. But I mean, to see if it really works, I don't know, but that was just kind of.
Did you actually watch the ants?
Yeah, pick it up and take it away.
Yeah, took it away. Yeah.
You know, I was young, so like, dude, I would like pick it up and put it back and watch them carry.
Watch them carry it back.
That's horrible, I know, but like at least I wasn't like like kids that were putting magnifying glasses on ants. And did you ever watch that movie, A Bug's Life?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, there I watched Ants and I watched A Bug's Life and
oh yeah, they're two different. Right?
Yeah, it's been a number of years and I think I confused the two a little bit, but well, I also saw James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, because that came out in I think 2000.
God, that was one of my
favorite.
favorite.
My daughter Esther really loved that movie.
They said it took like 9 years to make or something.
Oh, really?
Like that.
Because of the special type of animation they did.
I'm not sure. I didn't like get into the what it was saying, but it took. I was like, really? That's weird. But it took. That is one of my favorite all-time movies. Though.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one time when I was a kid too. We went the school, Ojibwe Indian school, took us to Minneapolis, and we went to the Minnesota, or what is it, the Children's Museum, and they have an ant, like as if you're an ant, you can crawl.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
It was really neat, man.
Oh.
Or what did you think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah.
They make ants look scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you get that small, the ants would be scary.
Yeah.
They'd be dangerous. Yeah.
So you were in Champaign, Illinois.
Yeah.
And then how long were you there for?
Well, we were there from October of '93 until July of '96.
And then you came here.
Yeah, I came here. Yeah.
So how did that work out? How did you find Turtle Mountain?
Well, the thing, it's an interesting story. When I was there working at Illinois, that was a temporary job, and so I was trying to find something permanent, I was looking around and looking for job openings and things, and there weren't too many openings for biologists at that time, but there was a guy that was visiting our lab from Montana, and I forget what part of Montana he was from, but he says, well, if you're looking for a job, you should maybe you could look at tribal colleges, because sometimes tribal colleges have trouble finding faculty. And
what year was it?
96.
96.
And so that
it was a native guy. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I forget who it was actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but was it a native or not? I don't remember. But so I found a website for AHEC, and they had a list of all the tribal colleges and their addresses. So I just sent out a form letter.
36, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well,
I think there's 38 currently. I think
38.
Yeah, I think there were, and are there 2 in Canada?
Really? That's cool. I'll have to look them up. I didn't know that. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Do some research.
So but back then I think there were fewer than 20.
Wow.
And so I sent a letter to each one, and I think one of them wrote back and said, well, you can do adjuncts if you like, but I mean that's just part time, and I was looking for a full time job, but Turtle Mountain wrote back and said, yeah, we
who was the president at that time? Do you remember?
Cardi.
Dr. Cardi.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what it was like? He wrote you back.
Yeah. Well, actually, Carol wrote me back because Carol Davis. She was
Yes.
serving as academic dean at that time, so she wrote back.
How cool, man! So, what were you thinking? Where you got the letter?
Well, yeah, I was thinking, well, it's kind of far north, and I mean, even though I grew up in northern Indiana, a place where it gets to 20 below at least once every winter.
Yeah.
Still, I was thinking, boy, North Dakota, I don't know, how do they survive up there in the winter? And so
shit's cold out today, boss. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, in a couple of days it's going to be, I guess, 19 below.
That's what I saw. I shared it.
Yeah. But the wind chill factor won't be really that low because it's not going to be that windy that day. Hopefully.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but yeah. So
Carol's letter. You got Carol's letter.
Yeah. And so we spoke to her on the phone a few times.
She's such a nice lady too, man. Like I haven't really. I've just recently kind of got to know her.
Oh yeah.
And she's just a really nice lady, man.
Yeah, has
super sweet.
A lot of stories, a lot of experience.
Very welcoming.
Right.
I like that. Yeah.
So
I'm assuming it was a really good phone call.
Yeah. And so I came up in. So this was, I think, April of '96. So I came up in June of '96 and looked at the campus and everything, and talked with Carol and a few other people here, and so we decided to move up here then.
Even one thing now that's even hard. So I couldn't imagine back then, like finding a place.
Yeah, right. Housing was kind of difficult, but we found a place though, and
because even like when I was working there some years back, it was like we're always trying to find faculty and stuff and people who work there, and so we get these people from out of town, and then they have to drive all the way from Botno. A lot of, I don't know, I mean, I guess there's a Walmart there, I get it, but I would be, like, for me, I'd be fine in Rolla with, like, a family dog. I'm not a morning person, though. So. But, so that was a problem then, or now is a problem.
Right, and back at that time, we didn't even have the Walmart in Botno.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's still kind of fairly new.
Right. Yeah, so, but I'd been used to living in a small town, but the thing is, the small town I lived in was only about a half-hour drive away from South Bend, Indiana, which had 100,000 people, So living in a small town here means you got to drive quite a ways to.
I know people that drive an hour or whatever just to go eat in Minot or just to go eat or check out a movie, and come back.
Yeah.
So you've been ever since then you've been.
Well, so I, from 2015 until 2021, I actually worked for North Dakota EPSCoR. So I left the college, I went to EPSCoR, and EPSCoR is a National Science Foundation funded program that funds research and education all throughout North Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I worked for them, and so I was the tribal colleges liaison for them for those 6 years, and so the thing is, since I was regularly traveling around to all the 5 tribal colleges in the state, I was actually based out of my house here in Rolla, and so I was actually working at home, and I was out of town on average every 2 weeks, So when COVID came along, I was already working at home anyway, so it wasn't, for me, it wasn't that big a change necessarily, at least in terms of work anyway.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of finding toilet paper, it was tough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I don't know if I was already kind of heading towards. Like I was already like getting out of hand, and then working from home made it worse. Like with the drinking, it was just like too much freedom for me, man. It just wasn't good. I like I was telling you, I just have to be like.
You gotta be in contact.
Yeah,
with people. There's a lot of people like that, really. Yeah.
So that's really cool that you were like already doing it, and
yeah.
So that's cool that like you like adapted it like so easily and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So even now too, it's like no big deal.
No. Yeah, and so so we did a lot of Zoom meetings and things, and
every 2 weeks you'd have to drive up there, like once.
Well, like every 2 weeks I was gone somewhere. I was either gone to one of the tribal colleges, or I was, maybe at UND or NDSU, or for like a day or two, or so, yeah.
So for 6 years until from to 2001 you did that until?
No, from 2015 until 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in 2021, TMCC was starting up the bachelor's program in biology, and I thought, well,
Is that still going on?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
We have a bachelor's in biology?
Yes, yeah, we do, yeah.
You know, boss, I haven't had a biology class since I was a sophomore in high school. But
well, it's about time, I think.
Well, you know what? I what was it, like 2018 was it? I read this book for the college, Braiding Sweetgrass.
Oh yeah.
Did you read that one?
Yes, yeah.
That like total, because like I can't get the like the big huge words and like all the, I don't understand that stuff, but the way that Robin Wall Kimmerer was explaining it, I was like,
yeah. And what I did is I actually listened to it as an audiobook, and so I listened to her read her book then as an audiobook. And
that's gnarly.
That was really nice because you got the pronunciation of all the Ojibwa words and stuff.
Yes.
And, yeah.
I didn't know that she narrated her own book, man.
Yes, yeah. And in fact, that is available through the North Dakota Library System as a free interlibrary loan audiobook.
No way.
Yes.
I'll share that.
North Dakota. Yeah, look it up. North Dakota Library System. Yeah. I
didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Gosh, it's ndlibrary.com, I think.
Okay.
And so as long as if you're a North Dakota resident, you
did you really like it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because from what I understand too, there's like different additions to it. Like she adds things.
Oh really?
There's a kids edition.
Oh okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware.
But the thing that that really resonated with me in that book when I was reading is she was trying to clean some of the lakes, like with algae and all of those things.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Those are way over my head. But one thing that we tried to do around here was to see if wild rice or sweetgrass could go around here.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that because weren't people in like tribal EPA? They were. I
don't know. It was really like hush and like I don't know who like was. I don't really. I never got to see it. I don't know really anybody who was in charge of it. I don't know. But to me, like ever since then into now, kind of doing more research and like our Anishinaabe migration, maybe it's just not meant to be for here. I don't know if we could change.
Well, possibly.
But what if it's just like not meant to be? Is what I don't know. I don't know.
Well, maybe. Hey,
well, what do you think about like? Do you like in your? What do you think that wild rice or sweetgrass could grow around here?
Well, I don't know enough about those particular species to know what type of soil requirements they have or whatever, but it grows pretty well in Minnesota, and at this same latitude in Minnesota, and so I would think that you have to look into what type of soil it grows in Minnesota, but I would think that our soils are fairly similar to.
I would Minnesota think so
soils.
Too.
Yeah. There's some variety though. We've got a variety of different types of soil types here and there in the state, but I think in fact the thing is if it was a matter of if there was some specific thing that they needed a certain soil type in Minnesota, we could actually even bring in soil from Minnesota.
That's interesting.
Of course, I don't know if that's illegal. Then maybe we should just edit it out. Probably not. If it's soil, it's just soil. Yeah, but yeah, sure. It's but yeah, the first step though would be to just try to grow it around here. And now, does it grow in wet areas? I think I heard that. Yeah, and so wet areas by a slough or something.
From what I'm not I've never even done it yet. I've never been there to do it yet.
And what's nice with grass in general is that most grasses are fairly easy to transplant and grow and stuff.
You've done a lot of from Baby Daryl. I remember seeing pictures of you guys going to the lake and stuff. the lakes. I don't know if it's true. I saw Natural Resources printed off like how deep our lakes are, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but like they said, I had heard that our lakes are connected like with canals underneath. They all kind of connect somehow. Excuse me.
Well, from what I remember, I think Belcourt Lake at its deepest point is like 30 feet deep.
Dang, really?
Yes. Yeah. That's and in fact, I think because Baby Darryl may remember better than I, but I think
Baby Darryl.
We went out. Yeah. Shout out to Baby Darryl. But because I think we went out and we looked for where the deepest spot was, because we had a diagram. We were kind of looking for it, and I think we measured at least like 20 some feet, maybe 25, 26 feet. But what's kind of hard with Belcourt Lake is that the bottom sediments are so soft that it's tough to know sometimes, when you're hitting bottom with like a weight or something,
I never thought of that.
But the thing is, though, I mean, people with fish finders and things, I'm pretty sure, they're going to be able to, a fish finder is going to be able to tell you what the depth is.
Yeah.
So I mean, any serious fisherman with a fish finder could probably, and if they fish Belcourt Lake, they could probably tell you, what the deepest part is. Then with like Gordon Lake and Wheaton Lake, I have no idea. I don't know.
I had heard a story. Some guys were practicing or doing some training for. They were the search and rescue guys, or what do they call those people that they go and divers?
Yeah, like search and rescue. Yeah.
They were out on 43. They were training or something, and one of the guys, I don't remember what lake it was, but he went down pretty far, and what are those fish that get pretty big, pretty like old?
You mean the muskies?
No, I can't remember what kind of fish it is, but he said they were really big, like big enough to where like if it opened its mouth, he said it could maybe swallow him. What are those? I can't remember. It was like a prehistoric fish too. It's
You mean sturgeon?
Sturgeon. Do we have sturgeon around here?
No. But he thought he saw a sturgeon in Belcourt Lake.
No, not Belcourt Lake, but it was like north on 43.
Oh, yes,
one of those lakes that they were practicing like diving.
Oh, but even that. Oh, yeah, I don't know if those are lakes that have sturgeon though.
But it was
I think maybe sturgeon actually need flowing water. Yeah, I could be wrong though.
Do you think maybe he saw a pike? Maybe like how big do they get? Do they get pretty big? Can they get big if they stay on the bottom?
Well, yeah.
Or do we have? Would you say muskie?
The muskie, yeah, we have muskie. At least in like Belcourt Lake. I don't know if they stock muskie in Gordon or not, but yeah, the tribal EPA would know, or the tribal natural resources they would know, what's stocked where. I know that up in Gravel Lake they used to stock rainbow trout.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if they do.
I think my Uncle Daryl used to talk about that. Yeah, I never had it. I heard it was really good. I never had it.
Well, I think any trout is pretty good. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I need to like force myself to eat more fish. I don't feel like I really need because I don't like. I wish I liked it more.
Oh yeah. And fish. I mean, fish has tons of nutrients.
Yeah.
And fish has a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, and that's a really good.
Well, I know they give you fish oil pills. It's for your heart, right? Is that what? Or what the fish oil?
Yeah. So the fish oil, and I think that's probably omega-3 mostly, and that's I forget whether they say that's good for the heart or whatever, but if you're getting a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, well, that's pretty much good for your health in general, really. Yeah.
I was, it's new year, new me, right?
Yeah.
We're all trying to. So I one thing that I'm adding to my my routine is I try to down a bottle of water when I get up because
that's good.
I read that the water starts your organs.
Yeah, I mean, water. I've heard recently that about 70% of people in this country are dehydrated or underhydrated.
I believe it. Like all the energy drinks.
I'm surprised it's not 95%.
Coffee.
Yeah.
I just see my buddy slam energy drinks. I would have a panic attack if I drank one.
Yeah.
Or all the sugar and all this coffee they have.
Yeah. And so water. Yeah, you should drink a good amount of water every day. And, you should actually drink. Okay, so there's a formula. If you weigh 200 pounds, take half of that. Half of that is 100, and you should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. So
I had read that, and then somebody said you drowned.
If you wait, no. You probably you won't want to do that all on the first day. You should kind of build up to it because you need to get into the habit of drinking water. But yeah, if you're 200 pounds, then you take half of that number and it's 100, and so you should drink 100 ounces of water a day. And then so if you're 260 pounds, then you should be drinking 130 ounces of water a day.
See, boss, and this is the kind of stuff that I was really interested in. Like now we're really kind of clicking. I feel like we're meshing now, and this is like the kind of things that I wanted to share with you, like the research and the things that I found, like the traditional aspects, and then you bring in like the science part of it. So like Native people, that's huge to know. Like if we're say if somebody is drinking that much water, so to know that we're made up of roughly 70-ish% water.
Yeah, 75% water. Yeah.
And like Native people, we believe that the moon, Nokomis, our grandmother, she controls the tides, the tides in the sea, and can those full moons, we're acting up, and if we're made up of 70% water, and then I don't know if you're familiar with that the documentary that What the Bleep Do We Know? That hit
I've listened to that. It's been a few years, but yeah, I've listened to that. Yeah,
the hidden message in water. The doctor.
Oh yes.
Moss or whatever.
Matsumoto, I think.
But I've taken that to a whole new level too, or not a new level, but like I'm trying to like if we're made up of that much water and everything, like his experiments that he did, the language, the music subconsciously, things that we watch. Like I was telling my daughter and her friend last night that they were like, let's watch a scary movie, and I honestly, I honest to God, I quit watching scary movies like horror flicks for a few months now, just to try to experiment and see, because the goal is I don't know if you're familiar with they have the dark room therapy. It's really good for people with bipolar. They put people in these dark rooms and you just sit there.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah, because it's sensory deprivation.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And so like we were already doing these on fasts or we were setting kids out like when they first became men, or in those like to sit in the dark.
Do a fast.
Yes, nothing.
And do the vision quest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you sit by yourself.
Yep.
And some, I'm not saying all are the same, but like I think that this darkroom therapy, is definitely off of some of the native things that we used to do, and so there's got to be some kind of, like the scientific things that can back it up, to give it that credibility, I guess, So like, it's interesting to me. Like I was watching Aaron Rodgers' Enigma on Netflix, and he came from a very straight-laced Catholic family, and he was interested in like religion and what was out there, and he was describing something that I hear a lot of people like. I go to Sweat like quite a bit, with Daryl.
Yeah.
And I never like see anything. I never like ever see anything, but people will see things, like. And
I think some people have a better ability to see things than others, and it's kind of like energy. Some people can easily detect energy from people or objects or things, and other people have more trouble doing that. I think it's like an ability that people either have to a certain degree or not. It's kind of like being able to sing. I mean, some people can just naturally sing well.
Yeah,
they naturally have that ability, but other people do not.
That's a really good analogy,
right.
Because like what what I hear people explain, like there was this lady, she came up for a conference that we had, and she came to a sweat, and she was like, wow, I seen like stars, and I saw like this and that in there, and I was like, you know, I don't. And then like this Aaron Rodgers went to that dark room therapy. Just sits in a room completely black. They like, even they put on some goggles or something that like,
so they're totally black and light,
and then they'll like come check on him or like leave him food or whatever. But he was saying like, oh, I saw like the Northern Lights.
Well, how long did
he did like 5 days.
5 straight days.
That's what
total darkness.
That's what these.
So you've got a toilet there that you can kind of feel, and so,
it was showing the room. It was like underground too. It was like,
and so they gave him all his food.
They'd go check on him
and water.
Yeah, he have a bathroom in there.
So you'd have like finger food, probably, right? I mean, not soup or something, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I suppose you could eat soup in total darkness. You just have the bowl there and the spoon, I suppose.
It didn't show what they brought, but that's interesting though.
I mean, what food would you eat, you know, in total darkness?
Well, the thing too is like
drinking the water, I could see, sure.
But even like having like kind of a cultural background in it, I would have like been like, don't eat it, man. You gotta really stretch your limits, you know. Like I feel like we feel like it takes away because you're taking that nourishment your body needs to see that other side.
Yeah, right. Because you want to do a fast, and so you don't want to.
You have to you have to be dying to see.
But see, but it, having water at least, another thing I want to say about water is, water is really, really important, and it's just important. It's so useful for it supports general health in pretty much every way. Since we're 70% water, and our cells need a certain amount of water in order to function properly. And all of the enzymes and all the chemicals and things that keep the cell working and keep the cell functioning, they have to function in a water-based environment. And if the cells are lacking water, well then those chemicals are too highly concentrated then, and they're not able to work well. And so, that's kind of a general view of why water is so important.
That just kind of
for digestion.
Yeah,
water is just general ability to digest things and stuff. It takes a lot of water and things. But the other thing I want to say though is that companies have gotten really sneaky though, and they have these little flavor packets.
Yes, those electrolytes. I use those. They're bad.
No, you see, you got to be drinking just water. You can't add flavors and add this and that stuff. If you want to add a little bit of salt to the water, that's fine. A small amount of salt for some electrolyte. Yeah. But the little flavor things, no, that's you need to be taking in, pure water.
Well, even like when I remember seeing something on TikTok or videos, there's like, why is there all this stuff in water, a bottle of water? There's like all these phosphate, like all these words, like that. Why is there just water in there? Or reverse osmosis. There's all these different alkaline water. Like there's all these different kinds of water, purified water.
Right, and I don't know if the alkaline water is necessarily better or not. I don't know. But you need water with nothing added to it, except for maybe a little bit of salt if you like. But for most people, the thought of drinking water, it doesn't really taste that good necessarily, but like in the wintertime, in the summer when it's hot,
sweating,
you're drinking water, and it's drinking a glass of water is appealing during the summertime, but in the wintertime, most people are not really.
No.
But the thing is, what I do though is I heat it up, and so drink some warm water. And if it's warm water in the wintertime, then it's to me it's a lot more palatable. In fact, to me it's great. I
tried to do I don't know. They drank a lot of tea from the research that I was doing, the native people. Yeah. But like I know, definitely you just gotta kind of just bite the bullet and drink. That's how I am. As well, yeah. Like my daughter makes fun of me. I was like, I'd like force myself to drink water. Like, Because like it's so, I don't know, it just even makes me feel kind of full. Or you could hear it moving around in your belly. Do you ever drink too much water and you like?
Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose occasionally I
Yeah.
feel it moving through the digestive tract, but no, not
No.
usually no.
I need to move more. I need to get more steps in.
Yeah, move more, yeah. But and with the water, I mean, you don't have to start out right away drinking a lot of water. Just drink some, drink like 20 ounces in a day, and then work up to 30 ounces, and if you get into the habit of doing that, then it'll be it's like anything else. If you form a habit of doing it, you're going to be able to do it much better. Yeah.
Well, the way how I kind of broke it down, like I was mentioning to you, I cook a lot with bottled water, and so like I know roughly like there's 2.5 cups in a bottle of water, or so you need like, I don't know, what was it, like 5? You should, I can't remember, I had my math all wrong, but like you should have like 5 cups a day, or well, you were saying 100 ounces.
I mean 100 ounces, and so. Well, okay, those little bottles of water, are they 20 ounces?
20, are they 12 or 20?
They might be 12. Well, in a larger bottle of water, it's 20, but yeah, the smaller ones might be 12. Yeah. So, I mean, if it's a large 20-ounce container, then, you drink 5 of those, you've got 100 ounces,
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, during the wintertime, if you warm it up, it's almost like you're drinking tea, really, if you warm it up and drink warm water.
Or even like a squirt of lemon juice, maybe. Do you ever do that? Throw a little squirt of lemon.
You shouldn't add anything to it,
No,
though.
I just have to get in the habit. I think it's a habit.
Yeah, and if it's warm water, it'll probably be more palatable, and I mean, at least you might be surprised. You might think, well,
I wonder why it's gotten. I mean, I guess there's just so many alternative drinks out there. Like, it's just gotten so hard for people to just get water. I don't see it often. It's usually diet soda.
Right. Yeah. And but yeah, it'll just have it become a habit. And I mean, since I've been drinking, the proper amount of water, I don't feel thirsty at meals. I don't have to have water with my meal to eat.
Wow. Well, one thing too that really scared me is I try to scare myself learning facts about your body. Like your heart was one of the strongest muscles. It pumps like 99, or I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I forget what volume it pumps every day.
But that's a lot of blood.
Yes, it's
gallons, wasn't it?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, maybe hundreds of gallons or something. Yeah. But I mean, that's something you could look up on Google, I suppose. But yeah, it's amazing how much blood the heart moves per day. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you too is like, so with I know you from we met through I think it was like pretty like we met officially at Baby Daryl's wedding, and his dad is my teacher, Ogima, thing like that.
Oh yeah, okay.
So like you've been in the area for like a hot minute now, and I guess my passion is like the cultural aspect of it, and just kind of bouncing ideas off of the scientific part of it, and I really like how your background into insects, right?
Yeah.
So like, what are some of the things that like some accolades or things that you have done so far professionally, or
I studied mosquitoes, starting in graduate school, and I studied mosquitoes for a number of years, and so we for a number of years here on the reservation, here at the college, I had students do mosquito research during the summers, and we would collect mosquitoes and different types of mosquito traps, and then we'd identify the species that we found, and We found a number of species here, just here on the reservation.
I think it's interesting because we're right next to the Canadian border too. Like
Right.
we can think like internationally.
Yeah.
I always like put that in consideration that we're like right next to Canada.
Right. Yeah, probably 95% of the species of mosquitoes we have here, they also find them in Canada too. In Manitoba, at least in the areas that are right over the border. But we actually have 28 different species of mosquitoes here.
I didn't know there was more than one.
Yeah, worldwide there's about 4,000 species of mosquitoes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's our Sundance is always in June, and the mosquitoes are bad at night, and with all the rain, we get all that rain in June.
Yeah.
And I remember we had some guys come from Montana one time, and they were like freaking out about mosquitoes. And I didn't understand, but I guess in Montana, mosquitoes are a pretty big deal. Like they can be life threatening.
Well, no, in terms of disease, I don't think they've got any more mosquito-borne disease in Montana than we have here. There's West Nile, and we've had West Nile in this country since 1999, so we've got West Nile in North Dakota and Montana, and most of the states of the Union actually, and then there's Western equine encephalitis virus that's also spread by mosquitoes.
Is it safe for the spraying when people spray to get rid of mosquitoes?
Is it safe? You mean safe for humans?
Yeah,
well, it depends on what they're spraying.
I guess that's kind of a broad question, is it?
Yeah.
We don't know what they're spraying or.
Right.
Because I know some places they said you don't have to worry, they sprayed, there's not going to be mosquitoes, and that was kind of new to me.
Yeah. Well, in Grand Forks and in Fargo, they'll spray. The thing is now they can spray for either the adult mosquitoes or the mosquito larvae, and so when they spray for adult mosquitoes, that usually doesn't really kill a large portion of the population, for a number of different reasons. Usually the mosquitoes are in vegetation, so they're in bushes or in grass or whatever, and the chemical doesn't get all throughout there, but for larvae, so mosquitoes when they're in the immature stages, in the larval stages, they're actually underwater. And so if you can spray the sloughs and the lakes to a certain extent, but there aren't too many mosquito larvae in lakes in general, unless there's a shallow part of the lake near the edge, and there's a lot of cattails or something.
You can see them kind of in a big.
Yeah. So then you might get mosquitoes being produced by a lake, but usually around here it's the sloughs. And then there's a few types of mosquitoes that like to lay their eggs in just small containers, like a tree hole.
Really?
Yeah. So on a tree, if a branch breaks off the tree, sometimes there's a hole that's left there, and sometimes water will collect in there, and if that holds water, then certain species of mosquitoes will lay their eggs in that water. There's only about 4 species of mosquitoes in this area that would actually lay their eggs in a small container like a tree hole. But the thing is, though, with discarded tires that are not on a rim, they're also a small container, and it's dark, and they hold a little bit of water, and so these tree hole mosquitoes can also lay their eggs in tires too. Yeah.
Bro, that's not good.
Right. Yeah, and so and also they can lay their eggs in any sort of container outside that has water in it. So if there's trash that's collecting water, one time when I was in Illinois, we were going door to door and asking people if we could look in their yards for mosquito larvae and things, and in one backyard we found one of those 50-gallon trash cans plastic trash cans.
Yeah.
And they had yard waste in there, so they had I don't know, plant material or whatever in there, and with rain, and it was open, so with rain,
gross.
yeah, so it didn't smell that good, but with rain and stuff, it filled almost full, and so we found mosquito larvae in there, and we did an estimate, and there was about 5,000 mosquito larvae in that one trash can that had collected water.
When would you say is the worst time for mosquitoes around here?
You mean the worst time during the
year?
Like
when we gotta hunker down.
The thing is, generally July.
July's a tough time.
The peak mosquito numbers comes pretty much different times every year. It depends on the timing of the rains. Like this past summer. I mean, we had a good amount of rainfall up until, I don't know, sometime in July, I think, and then it stopped raining.
I remember that, yeah.
And it got pretty dry, and
I remember the roads. That's how I can tell if it's dry. The gravel roads are just, I hate driving.
Dusty.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And so, I mean, but sometimes we'll have a dry spring, and there won't be that many mosquitoes, and maybe in the middle of summer it'll start raining, and then, they'll pick up, So
it's kind of like depends on the rain, kind of something.
Yeah. With the general mosquito numbers, it depends on the rain. Yeah, because the type of mosquitoes that are more likely to bite people are basically their numbers are controlled by the rain mostly. But the other thing is, when it rains, then there's a lot of humidity, and so the mosquitoes are more able to move around, and be active when it's humid, because they've got really small bodies that dry out really easily, and so if the air is dry and the weather is dry, they can't move around too much. But if it's moist, if it's humid, well then they can,
Do you know the lifespan of a mosquito?
Well, in nature, an adult in the adult form, a female mosquito will probably live no more than maybe a week and a half on average, and a male mosquito a little bit less than that. But now, if you've got them, in a cage in the lab, I mean, a female mosquito would last for maybe a couple months.
Even the buzzing, I just hate that. Is that its wings making
Yes,
that?
that's the wing beat. Yeah.
Oh, one thing that I've never understood is how is it that they're whatever.
Proboscis, yeah.
How do you say it?
Proboscis.
How is it so strong that it can, ouch? You know what I mean? Like, shit, they hurt some places.
Well, the thing is, it's the mouth parts are really long and thin, and they're sharp, and they saw back and forth, and they cut into. Yeah, there's two mandibles, they call them, two jaws. And in mosquito, they're highly modified to be very long, thin, pointed needles or lancets. Mm-hmm. But then they also have another pair of mouth parts. They're called maxillary palps, and they're long and thin and pointed as well. So basically then, and if you've seen a video on YouTube of a close-up video of a mosquito biting someone, you can see the proboscis kind of working back and forth.
Digging, kind of.
Yeah. It looks like maybe digging. Yeah. And so they just cut their way through the skin and find a capillary then.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. But what's interesting though is that when I was in Illinois, we had a number of mosquito species, different species in different cages, and so I put my hand up to one of the cages, and the bite from them would be really itchy, but with others it wouldn't be itchy, very, very itchy at all. And with some of them there'd be a bump, and with others there wouldn't be a bump at all. And some of them, the bite would be almost painful, but with others you wouldn't feel the bite.
Yes, they kind of depend.
Yeah. And so it's there's some variety in just what different species do. But the thing is, the reason that some species cause an itch and others don't is that they're one of the things they're doing is they're injecting a little bit of their saliva into you, and so different species are going to have different proteins in their saliva, and you're going to have a different reaction to those saliva proteins.
Dang, that's pretty deep, man. Yeah, because
so you're having an allergic reaction. So the itching is an allergic reaction, and the swelling is an allergic reaction, and the redness as well. But with some mosquitoes, with some species, I just didn't have much of a reaction. But with others, I had more.
Do they particularly like humans more than animals, or like the animals? Can they penetrate animals?
The one of the really interesting things about mosquitoes is that different species have different preferences. There are a number of species that will prefer people, or large mammals, but others will prefer small mammals. Like rodents or
easy pickings.
Yeah, but others will prefer birds.
I wouldn't even think they'd be able to.
Well,
how could you get through the feathers?
Well, sometimes they probably they mostly bite the legs where there's no feathers. Yeah, or the other thing is, I've seen research that they've done, and a lot of times what they do is they bite the bird at night when it's sleeping, and also they bite the younger ones, the nestlings, because they're it's easy to get either through the feathers or and or I would suspect with a sleeping bird they'd probably bite around the eye as well, because the skin is more exposed there too. I would guess.
What is the mosquitoes? I don't know, like what eats them? Like what would we need more of?
Well, the thing, I mean, dragonflies and damselflies will eat pretty much any flying insect that they can find, and that includes mosquitoes. There's a number of like purple martins. Purple martins will eat mosquitoes. There's the swallows. They'll eat mosquitoes as well.
I feel like you would be the guy to ask this question. My daughter, I just thought about my daughter one time. She asked me, I try to tell her, like, the creator made everything. We all have a job. We all have a reason. And she goes, Dad, what's the mosquito's job? I hate them. So what, like, if we got, like, if somehow my daughter's wish came true and there's no mosquitoes,
yeah,
like, what would bad happen?
The thing is, as far as we know, there's no species of insect or bird or frog or whatever that eats only mosquitoes. They'll eat mosquitoes and small flies like mosquitoes. And so if we actually somehow got rid of all the mosquitoes, I don't know if there'd be any really big ecological impact necessarily.
Like, I always hear we'd be in trouble if the bees left, right?
Well, yeah, for pollination and all sorts of things. Yeah, sure. I mean, if you and the dragonflies, and ladybugs, and all sorts. Yeah, there's a number of insects that if we lost, and of course ants. I mean, if we lost ants, I mean that'd be.
Because like in native tradition, there's Nana Boozhoo stories, or Nana Bush stories they call them.
Yeah.
Like there's books, like a Nana Boozhoo book, how the bear got its tail, like why it's small, or why one of the ducks has red eyes, like Nana Boozhoo is strangling him, or and they all have their name for a reason, like a skunk, right? So the word, like, our language kind of represents what they do and what they are, like a story, or like, so like a skunk, they call it jigog, and what that breaks down to is a smelly hole, like a hole, like that's what it means.
Yeah. And
so it had, like, there's a reason, so that word that describes what it is, like it has a reason, and it has so, or like the beaver, why its tail is, and it can make its home, or and I don't think I've ever heard of one of mosquitoes, and so like like a lot of important animal, like even the otter that went down and got the handful of dirt, or the muskrat, was that the muskrat?
Yeah, the muskrat,
Like,
right. Oh, yeah.
The flood story.
Yeah.
So even just the littlest, tiniest.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think there is at least one tribe that has like an origin story for the mosquito. I don't remember which tribe it is though.
You remember it?
But I remember some details of it. It's that long ago mosquitoes used to be really large animals, and they'd hide in the woods. And,
like historic, like really, this is true?
Well, no, this is the.
This is the story.
Yeah,
oh, okay, sorry.
They used to be really large, and they'd attack people in the woods, and they chase people down, and so that the tribe got together and they said, well, we need to do something about these mosquitoes, and so they said, well, we're going to have to set up an ambush. We're going to have to gather a lot of warriors together, set up an ambush for these mosquitoes and attack them and hopefully kill them. And so they that's what they did. They set up an ambush. They when the mosquitoes came by and they attacked them and they killed them, and they were beating on the bodies of these mosquitoes, and the bodies broke up into small pieces, and then each one of those small fragments of the bodies of mosquitoes flew away, and so that's
like Candyman. You ever watch Candyman when all those flies take off?
No, I haven't seen that movie. No. But and so that's why there's swarms of small mosquitoes. Then
I like that. Those are the ones that I'm like really familiar with.
Yeah.
Like I like how every animal, even if you don't think, or James Vukovic, he told a story about love, and how there was this tribe, they were starving, and it was this Anton Troyer. Anton Troyer told the story how they were boiling their moccasins for their kids to have something to eat. Like they were just starving.
Yeah. Right.
And Vukovic, James, he told the story about love, and how these people, this small bunch, they were sitting in their, like, I don't know, their wigwam or whatever, and they were praying, and they were starving, and they were really going through a hard time. And this one person, I don't know, it was like, he got a vision, and this fish came to him and said, I see you guys are having a hard time, and you guys are struggling, and I'm going to give my life to you guys. I see you guys are struggling, and I have pity for you. I feel sorry. And he said, we're bottom dwellers. I can't remember which kind of fish it was. They were bottom dwellers. Mm-hmm. And he said, go and chip ice and throw your nets on the bottom, and we'll swim to them. And then that's what I can't remember what fish that was, but they're bottom dwellers. And in the wintertime, that fish came to them and told them to throw their nets underneath.
There's a lot of catfish that are bottom dwellers. In fact, I think all the catfish are bottom dwellers, but yeah.
Just to even, like, the simplest kind of fish,
right.
Like you would think, that was a bottom dweller.
Yeah.
But like, so that's kind of the part that I try to look for. Like, I don't know what mosquitoes are good for, but
yeah,
they sure don't do too much for me though.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We've been going almost 2 hours.
Oh, has it been?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, time flies. Yeah.
Was there?
Ended here then.
Is there anything that you want? Man, I had a really good time. I really want you to come back again if you get time.
I think I covered a lot. Yeah, and there's more I could cover. And
I'm really happy that you came, man.
Great. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
So
one thing I want to mention though, we were talking about fish and nutrition. So you get a lot of omega-3 fatty acids from fish. You also get, I think it's vitamin D and vitamin A, but on chronometer.com.
Chronometer?
Chronometer, yeah, Chronometer, CRONOMETER.com. You can go there, and they give a lot of nutrition information, and so you can do a search for what's the nutritional value of like let's say 5 ounces of fish,
It'll break it down for
you.
you?
And so it tells you, how much fat, how much protein, how much carbohydrate is in 5 ounces of fish, but also how much omega-3, omega-6, the vitamins, all the different vitamins A and all the B's and C's and D's, and the minerals you get, iron, how much iron do you get from it, and magnesium and all sorts of things. You get a lot of selenium from fish too, I remember. But yeah, fish is so packed with nutrients. It's a really good thing to eat. But eggs also, eggs have a lot of nutrients.
Dave said he eats about like 10 eggs a day. He said.
Oh really?
That's what he said. Like on his lunch break, he'll go home for lunch break, and he said, "I'll just go fry an egg, boil it."
Yeah. I eat
omega, right? Do they have a lot of omegas?
Yeah, eggs have omega-3, but there's you get a number of different vitamins and stuff, and you get, of course, you get some lipid in there too, and there's a lot of protein. There's a lot of protein there, but there's a lot of other nutrients, a lot of vitamins and minerals, and I don't remember all of them. But yeah, eggs are really concentrated, and then spinach. Spinach is really nutrient rich.
Does it matter if it's canned? Because I can eat canned.
I think it's fine either.
Yeah.
But have you ever had frozen spinach?
Never.
Because they sell little bags of frozen spinach, like in the local stores here, and also Walmart as well, but you can put that in a stir fry, and that's really good in a stir fry.
What was it again? I was thinking of Brussels. Oh, spinach. You said
spinach,
right?
Yeah.
Kale. They said that's the super.
Yeah. I on chronometer.com I actually looked at spinach and kale, and their nutrient profile is pretty much identical.
Really? Spinach and kale?
Yeah.
How about Brussels sprouts? I can't eat. I
forget what I found with those, but I think they're pretty good too. You probably get a good deal of vitamin K with Brussels sprouts because Brussels sprouts are very close to cabbage. I know cabbage gives a lot of vitamin K.
What were they saying there? I forgot what I was gonna say now. I lost my train. We've been just on. It was just really a treat to really visit with you. I just really admire you. You're very like a genius. I was telling Nikki and those guys. I was like, he's a genius, isn't he?
Genius.
Yeah, yes, you are. You're a genius. But I really enjoyed visiting with you, and thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed you being here, man. And I really hope that you come again.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. All right, boss. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Yeah,
I appreciate you, and thank you.
Thanks everybody for sticking with a whole hour and a half.